Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I thought I'd do a yearly review of last year. I did one last year and quite enjoyed looking back on it. In 2023 I did 10,013 kilometres or 6,222 miles, which is about 2 more miles than last year. So not very much more, but just about. That included 421 hours on the bike and the elevation equivalent to climbing Everest 8.7 times. My monthly miles were very consistently 500, which was the target I set for myself each month. And apart from July, when I didn't achieve that, every other month was between 500.6 and 519 miles. Apart from December, because I did the festive 500 and it was like 760 miles. The other stat on the infographic that I'm interested in is the VeloViewer tile square increase. In 2022 I went from 10 by 10 to 15 by 15, and then last year I went from 15 by 15 to 17 by 17, which wasn't quite as big as an increase as I wanted, but there were a couple of tiles that are quite inconvenient to get, in that I'd have to go out on my cyclocross bike to get them down the canal or the bridle way, and I only reached 111 new tiles, which is a lot less than the year before. And now some pie charts. I thought this was really interesting when I did it before, so I did it again, and it's the split by bike by distance rather than time. So my cyclocross bike was used for 2.8% of my miles. Other bikes, which was higher bikes when I went on my Gold DAV residential, was 0.1% of my miles. My Genesis, which was my old commuter bike, I got a new commuter bike in April, so between January and April I used this for full-time commuting to work and that. And then I've used it occasionally since then, and that was 10.1%. My new commuter, which is the Lapierre Cross Hill, I used for 19.2% of my miles. And then my main road bike, my Lapierre, I used for 44.1% of my miles. And my mountain bike was only 3.1%, and my watt bike was 20.6%. So it's the similar kind of trends to the year before, just slightly different numbers. And then the other pie chart I did was the split between races, training, commutes and indoor, again by distance rather than time. I spent 20.6% of my miles, which is the same as the watt bike mileage, indoors, races, warm-ups and also riding to races, which was only Western Park this year because I didn't do any Mallory, was 4.2%. My miles. Commutes make up 27.7% of my miles, and everything else is 47.5%. In terms of races, I did 2 cyclocross races in the 2022-23 season, so January last year. I did 2 Crankit mountain bike races, where I was 2nd senior and 3rd senior. I had a really good start to the mountain bike season with those 2 races. I didn't do any Mallory races or road or circuit races at all last year. I did about 10 mountain bike races in the Friday Night Summer Series and 1 summer cyclocross race. And then I did 4 cyclocross races in the 23-24 season. I missed the regional champs in December because I was on holiday. In total, I got 1 win in the mountain bike season, and that was a good win. Similarly to my previous video, I thought I'd do my highlights. So in January, my highlight was the cold commutes. I don't know, I just felt because I wrapped it warm on the commutes, I quite enjoyed them. I learned that if I wear my waterproof trousers over my cycling trousers, they are really, really nice and toasty. In February, my highlight was one of the VeloViewer exploring rides I did. It wasn't far, it was to Swiftland Reservoir, and I couldn't believe I hadn't been there before because it's really local. In March, my highlight was the mountain bike races at Sherwood Pines because I managed to ride over the pallets. It was only the B-line, but the year before I couldn't ride it, so I was proud of myself with that. In April, my 2 highlights were the Lee Quarry Crankit race because the year before I really hated that race. I was way out of my depth. And admittedly they changed the course, which made it slightly easier for me, but I raced really well. And also Leicester Forest celebrated their centenary, so I went on the group ride for that, and that was really fun. In May, my highlight was the first mountain bike race of this Friday Night Summer Series. It was a really fun course. In June, my highlight was the race I won, which was at Melton Country Park. I rode really well that race. In July, I didn't really do much, so my highlight was the track stand trick I did, which was playing tennis against the wall. It was a variation of an idea I had for quite a long time, but hadn't got around to doing. In August, was another trick. I decided that I'd try and kick the football, and this is the video of it, because we couldn't take another video because I kicked the ball over the fence on the first shot. In September, my highlight was the Leicester Forest Ladies ride that I led. It was the second ride, but it was the first one that I'd led properly, and it included a cafe stop and a really nice ride with some lovely ladies. I don't really do cafe stops, so it's quite a change for me to ride with people and have a cafe stop. In October, my highlight was the first race of the cyclocross season at Marston Lodge. I had a really good race. I think because it was so hilly, it didn't really matter that I was losing time on the descents because I was making it all up on the climbs. In November, I didn't have a highlight. I just didn't really do anything. And then in December, 2 highlights. My Reindeer Strava Art ride, just because of how cool it looked, and also my Festive 500. There will be a video of that in due course, but I was really proud of myself for that. It's been kind of a bucket list challenge for many years, so to actually achieve it was something a little bit special. And also the way I did my routes through Strava Art, it was very much my style of riding. Next was something I didn't do in my previous video, which was how I did against my 2023 goals. My goals were riding further, which I did only slightly, more long rides, which was based on the fact I only did 500-mile rides in 2022, but in fact I did less than that last year. I only did 1, which was 120 miles in February. I also didn't break my longest ride distance. I did try it last year, but trying to beat your longest ride distance in February probably isn't the best idea. One of my other goals was exploring more of Warwickshire, which was part of my ticking off every place in the county list. I did Leicestershire, I'd done Rutland. I did a couple of places last year, but again, hopefully that's something I'll continue this year. And then the last goal was have fun, which was something I definitely did. So goals for 2024, more long rides. I know I said I didn't achieve that in 2023, but there's a couple of routes that I am quite keen to get ridden this year. Again, with that, I'd also like to break my longest ride distance. Another goal for this year is more skills. Last year, I did some track stand tricks. They weren't that new. There were things, although out of practice, I was fairly comfortable with. This year, it's a year for the skills. I'd like to get back on the rollers. And then useful tricks like wheeling, bunny hopping. Probably improve my no-handed as well. It's been a while since I've done some of that. And finally, just have some more fun on the bike. I don't think that's a hard goal to have, but it's good to remind me that it's not all about riding further, riding faster, or even racing. It's all about having fun. Thanks for watching. Bye!